To hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show. Last hour I saw Stars because we had the folks from Stars here. This hour, this show is going to be for the birds. What can I tell you, folks? Because with me this morning, we say good morning to Tim Bennett, who is a pigeon racer. A topic Tim told me when he sat down, he's never ever done radio before, and I said, that's okay, because I've never ever talked about pigeon racing before. It's a first for both of us. Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Art.
Thanks for being with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. How does one, maybe why does one get involved in pigeon racing?
Well, that's a tough question, but typically there's people that keep pigeons. I've had pigeons most of my life.
For what reason? Just out of curiosity.
Well, they make great pets with the...
Really?
I like flying pigeons. There are show pigeons that are bred for their colors and shapes and forms. There's over 100 varieties of pigeons out there, but I like the ones that fly.
Are they, how can I ask this? Are they trainable to the point where they make decent pets? Because I always thought of pigeons as being aloof. Because I grew up in New York City. We got pigeons, but they were all outside, and then they were kind of aloof, unless you were feeding them.
No, I keep, they're called parlor tumblers, and they actually can't fly. They are bred and trained. They will jump up in the air and make 1 or 2 flips and land where they jumped from. And I keep those for my grandkids, and it's actually pretty funny because the neighborhood kids will come bang on the door at the house and ask and see if they can go play with their pigeons.
How many pigeons do you have?
Well, I hate to say it, but just north of 200. Yes, 200.
What does one feed pigeons?
Pigeons are grain eaters. They eat grains. So a mixture of grains, milo, corn, wheat.
And how long have you had pigeons?
Since I was about 7.
Oh, really? So you've had them for decades and decades then.
Yeah, I started out climbing around under the car ferry up in St. Ignace on the ramps for that, catching baby pigeons and bringing them home.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So I think we've all heard of carrier pigeons.
Huh?
They were even used during the war.
Huh?
But I've never heard of racing pigeons. So let's explain this racing part of this whole scenario here.
So racing pigeons are carrier pigeons. They were used in the wars, and they were used for thousands of years before that for carrying messages long distances. They go all the way back to Egypt. They had pigeon lofts then.
So I can never understand. You're sitting here. So if you had one of those pigeons and you wanted to deliver a message to Detroit, how does that pigeon know where to go?
Well, the pigeon had to have been raised and trained in Detroit and then brought remotely so that when you release it, it's going to go back to where it was originally released and flown. And they never forget that. It's amazing. So,
okay.
Yep. So these birds, once that they are outside, they've been released to fly, it locks in their brains that is home. They never forget that. You can take the pigeon loft and remove it, and these crazy birds will come land on the ground where that loft was.
They have a sense of direction built in then.
Oh, yeah. Scientists still don't know what makes them tick. They argue over all the things that allow them to do it.
All right. So racing connotates something. What is a pigeon race like?
So a pigeon race is we have clubs and then we have combines of clubs. But you train your pigeons at your loft, and then we basket them onto a large trailer, and we have a driver that hauls them to the release stations. And it just so happens that this last Sunday for the FM club, it was 402 miles for me. So they take, 402 miles.
How long does it take a pigeon to traverse 402 miles?
Well, there's a simple recipe that's not always true, but 45 miles an hour plus or minus the wind. And they can
so
do
they
that.
can do that in 9 or 10 hours. They can be home.
12, 14 hours. The good, tough birds in top shape can fly that straight through.
Don't have to land. Don't have to relax, rest, nothing.
The really good ones will plow through it. The other ones that maybe aren't in perfect condition will stop for water. It depends on the weather. If it's 90 degrees out, they're going to stop for water. If it's 70 degrees, kind of like it was for Sunday, perfect flying day, with the exception of they had a pretty strong headwind, which slows them down.
So obviously, since there are clubs and combines, you are not the only pigeon racer in this area.
No, we are not. There are multiple combines within the state. The Frankenmuth Club has about 20 members currently. I'm also member of the Northern Racing Pigeon Club, and that's a brand new startup this year, and we had 6 actual flyers in that club. Within the combine, there's 7 clubs, probably 150 flyers.
Wow.
Up. And our trailer, the rig that we haul the birds with, can hold 2,000 pigeons. Yep, scary number, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I go back to my childhood. I just think of these birds walking around the ground where I grew up in the Bronx.
Yeah, it's a little different. So there's 2 categories for racing. There's young birds, which are this year's youngsters, and there are old birds, which are mature birds.
When you say this year's youngsters, they're only a year old?
Months old.
Months old?
Yeah,
How do they have the strength to do that kind of distance?
Well, there's a lot of genetics built in there. So they have to be banded in 2025 to race as young birds.
And how many of these birds ever get lost?
Well, unfortunately, there's a decent percentage of that. And part of it is lost. The other part is everything on the planet likes to eat pigeons.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Hawks are terrible. They're our
Pull them right out of the air then.
Yeah. And cars, you wouldn't believe it, but homing pigeons, when they're coming back from a race, fly really low to the ground. They will actually follow the contours and all, which gets them in trouble with wires and cars and all the things that can get in their way.
Is this an expensive hobby?
Well, I don't ever remember having a hobby that was cheap. Yes, it can be expensive. The electronics required, the clock and the antenna that records when they come in, are pricey. That's one of the things that hurts us.
There's more to this than meets the eye, isn't it?
Yes. So maybe we back up a little bit with we start breeding. We pair up our pigeons typically in mid-November. Now these are our breeder birds, and then they'll have babies that are bandable in January.
Do you fly those birds, or are they strictly homebound pigeons?
The breeders typically are locked up. Captives is what we like to call them, because you're going to buy those and acquire them from other people trying to get the best birds that you can. But again, if they get out, they're going to go back to wherever they thought home was. So unfortunately, you can't fly those.
Well, if you have a bird came from Detroit, so it thinks its home is Detroit,
Yep.
How long do you have to have that bird before it recognizes what its new home is?
Never happens.
Never happens.
Never happens. 10 years from, there's times these birds can live 15 years. There's been 15-year-old birds got out accidentally, and they go back to where they were raised.
Amazing. Take a break and come back. We're talking to Tim Bennett. He's a pigeon racer and pigeon aficionado, if you will. We'll have more on it when we return.
We're proud to make
myths about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-497-0593. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
Or call 800-497-0593. That's 800-497-0593.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
All right, we're back with you. We're talking to Tim Bennett. Tim is a pigeon racer and breeder of pigeons, among other things, but that's his main hobby. And we're talking about pigeons, and it's worldwide.
Yeah, worldwide. Just about every country has some sort of pigeon racing.
And tell me about these loft races, because some of them have millions of dollars attached to them.
Yeah, there's a thing called one loft races where you raise up your baby pigeons, preferably from the very best breeding stock you can get, and then you ship that bird to where the one loft race is. So there's one in South Africa. It's called the $1 Million Race. So you'll ship the bird. It's got to go through all the custom stuff, get it to Africa, and then the people that run that loft continue to raise the youngster and to train it. And if you're lucky enough to win, and there's tens of thousands of pigeons in that one loft race, and they do multiple races to thin down the herd till you get to the final $1 million race. But if you win it, it's $1 million.
Now, when you say one loft race, where do they race to and from?
That loft, because the place where they're released, where they get outside to look around, is home.
So when you ship them before they become acclimated to where they were born.
Right. They have not been acclimated yet. So you ship them there, they release them, get acclimated. That is their home.
And so they race them from some other point back to that loft?
Yes. Yep. And that can be on young birds. They go all the way out, some of the one lofts, to 500-600 miles.
It's beyond me. I cannot believe it.
It's an amazing process.
Is it an expensive process?
Yeah, like all hobbies.
If you're shipping a bird to South Africa, I mean, that's got to be expensive.
So, yes, some of the one loft races can be really pricey. Like every other hobby, you can spend as much money as you want to. Shipping a bird and getting it in that $1 million race, I've never done it, but you're talking thousands of dollars to get it there and in the race. They have perch fees, what they call them, which buys you a spot in their loft. And then as it progresses, there's additional fees till you get towards the end.
Do we have those in the United States?
Yeah, we have a lot of one loft races. There's one in Indiana that's a big one. But it doesn't pay $1 million. I think the first prize there is $20,000, $25,000. Yep. There's some money in that. So a lot of people are turning to doing that because they don't have to go through all of the training and the driving for the birds. They can raise their youngsters and ship them off to these one loft races and then watch the results online.
So you have the flyers and you have the non-flyers.
Yeah.
They're separated?
Yeah.
They don't get along with each other?
No, they do, but it's different territory. Personally, I don't participate in the one loft races because I like to raise my birds. I like to watch them come home. That's what it's all about for me. That adrenaline rush, sitting in the yard, waiting for that bird to come in. That first one that comes over the trees, and when you spot that one, it's just an amazing feeling. And then you're looking at your watch because was it fast enough to win? That's the thing.
While you're discussing this, I'm thinking back to my days in the Bronx, New York, where I grew up. There were thousands of pigeons. I mean, they were everywhere. They all looked alike. When that
Yep.
pigeon comes home, can you tell which pigeon it is without looking at the band?
Oh, yeah. You spend so much time with the birds that mostly you can identify the ones that are coming. There's just little things. All the pigeons look the same, but they're not. They all have some uniqueness to them. They're marked differently.
And what's the other one? The tumbler,
Oh, yeah. I also have parlor tumblers.
parlor tumblers.
Parlor tumblers. And
Now they're born with the inability to fly. Is that right?
no, actually,
Or are they clipped?
no. One of the things people don't understand is that they can actually fly for about the first 4 or 5 months, and then they lose the ability to fly. Again, the scientists argue over how and why, but they've been bred for a long time like that. Once they lose the ability to fly, then there's competitions where the bird will jump up in the air, make 1 or 2 somersaults, and land on its feet. So they're judged about how nice the rolls were and whether
there's
they land.
parlor tumbler competitions.
Yes, there's competitions.
Gymnastics.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Oh,
Now I keep those for the grandkids because birds can't fly, so the young kids can get them. And pretty amazing because all the neighbor kids will bang on the door at the house and ask if they can go play with the parlor tumbler pigeons. They've got them all named and they got their own ones picked out, and it's good
how
clean
many
energy.
do you have?
I got about 20 parlor tumblers.
They all live in the same space?
Yeah, they're in the same coop.
They all get along?
Yep, they do fine. They make babies with the.
No kidding.
Yep. So, I mean, that's really cool when the neighborhood kids come to play with them. They got them super tame, and they walk around the yard with them on their shoulders, and
So
pretty cool.
the other birds, the flying birds, are they free to come and go?
No, you try to control when you let them out, and because the hawks and everything else, so you try to carefully decide when you're going to fly them. And when you're doing young birds, which is where the whole thing starts, once they've been out flying from your loft for a while, I'll say a month, then you start training the birds, which you package them up in a crate and you drive them away from home and release them so that they learn to come home and how to trap to get back into the loft. So as you get closer to the race season, you stretch out that training distance, and multiple times of the week you haul those birds and let them loose and let them come home.
Most of them do.
Oh yeah, most of them do. Now that you asked, is it expensive? Well, you're going to burn up some miles on your car because I've hauled mine 150 miles on a training toss, right? So gas money and so you try to find buddies to train with to split the costs. But this is where you're starting to get in racing. There's all kinds of theories and techniques on how you should train the birds to get them ready.
So if you had a neighbor who was into pigeons and had a loft, and you're next door with your loft, and you both took a pigeon for training together, and you let them off in the same point, is your neighbor's pigeon going to go to their loft and your pigeon going to go to your loft?
If the world's right, yes. The vast majority of them will. Now, when they're super young and being that close, sometimes they'll follow the other birds crisscross. But once they've done it a few times, they will go to their loft. And as an example, I have 2 lofts that we fly young birds. My wife races young birds as well as I do. The 2 lofts are 20 feet apart. So she has a group of birds and I have a group of birds, After they've been trained a bit, hers go in her coop, mine go in my coop.
How do they get in? Is there a trap door or
Yeah,
something?
there's a one way. It's called a drop trap. So once they jump in there, they can't get back out easily. Some of them figure it out, but the idea is they can't get back out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Things you learn that you never knew existed. We'll find out more when we return. Talking to Tim Bennett and pigeon racing. If you never heard of it, stick around, folks. A lot to learn, apparently.
With corn rootworm.
Back with you, talking to Tim Bennett. He is a pigeon racer and pigeon grower, an aficionado, if you will. And we are learning things that I never thought about. And I just looked at the one site they have, fmpigeon.com, and that's your club, right?
Yeah, that's the Frankenmuth Club.
The Frankenmuth Club. Mm-hmm. And there are couple dozen members in that club. It's not just 2 or 3 people. It's a bunch.
Right.
So let's look at it from this way, Tim. Somebody sitting at home hearing this, looking for a hobby and saying, maybe I'd be interested in that. What does it take to get started in the pigeon? I won't even call it racing because maybe they just want parlor jumpers or, what does it take to get started?
Well, the easiest way is to find another person with pigeons. So I am the race secretary for 2 clubs, the Northern Racing Pigeon Club and the Frankenmuth Club. So I'm going to throw my phone number out there, which is 989-326-2562. And I can hopefully point you towards other people that have pigeons and specifically homing pigeons for sure. So if you have any interest, give me a call.
So the racing pigeon is a homing pigeon.
It's a homing pigeon.
Same kind of carrier pigeons they used in the military. It's just exactly the same thing.
Same bird, been bred for thousands of years. The carrier pigeon terminology, though, there was a breed of pigeons that were actually carrier pigeons that are now extinct. We managed to kill them all. That name kind of carried over to homing pigeons, but they're actually distinctly different birds.
Really? What made them different? They did the same thing, didn't they?
No.
Oh.
No.
What did they do different?
A carrier pigeon was a wild pigeon, like you're talking about. Used to number in the millions. And we killed them off for food, and they're now actually extinct. So were never homing pigeons. They really weren't kept domestically.
So what the military used were homing pigeons.
Homing pigeons. People stuck the carrier term to it because they carried a note,
right?
Information on their legs so they kind of got the carrier name attached to them, but they're technically not carrier pigeons.
I mean, is there any place that still does that? Uses it for communication?
Oh yeah, there's some of the lower income remote countries they're still used for communication stuff.
It's amazing.
Some of the lesser militaries even, there's places out there. When I was younger, you had to register your homing pigeons with the government. So in case there was a war, they knew where they could find birds with it.
And I noticed on your site, for all the members of the club, there is a band list of all the bands and whose birds they are.
Right. So, yeah, they get, as the babies are born, about 5 days after they've hatched, you put a permanent band on their leg. That identifies the bird, and it never comes off.
And it's like your ownership certificate, so to speak.
It is. That's your ownership, and it's a unique combination of letters and numbers. There's the only one on the planet.
So what does it take to build a coop? How big do they have to be?
Well, my wife's, she races pigeons, and hers is a 6x6 building, and she can fly about 35 pigeons out of that.
And that's their home.
That's their home.
They'll come back to that all the
They
time.
come back to that all the time.
And is there a specific place where they land when they come back?
Well, so they're called landing boards so that's the point at which they can enter the loft, and it's directional so that once they go in, they can't get back out.
And they know how to do it, though.
Yeah, you have to train them a little bit when they're youngsters, but they're amazingly smart. They
So
pick it
what
up quick.
constitutes a youngster? How old does a bird have to be before it's considered to be an adult?
Well, in the racing world, it's got to be a year old.
So anything under a year is considered a youngster.
Yeah, it's a young bird, right? So this year, if it has a 20-25 band on it, that's a young bird.
And, I mean, you mentioned some of them can live to 15 years. How long can they race? They race all their life?
No, not all their life, but there are people in the club that have raced 8-year-old birds. I'm going to say the majority is 2 to 5-year-olds, but depends a lot on the bird.
Okay, so when that bird stops racing, it just becomes a pet?
Yeah, at that point, because if it survived that long and it's won some races, it probably ends up in the breeder loft. Right? This is how you breed better and better birds. They earn a
Sounds
place.
like horse racing.
It is.
Breeder stock.
Except for in the air. Same idea.
That is amazing. How many birds do you race at a time?
Personally, we target 30 birds when we start out. So I usually get about 20, 24 when the race season starts, and the wife will do the same thing. Some of the members in the club have well over 100 when they start the season.
I have a caller that has experience with homing pigeons. We'll take that call. I got to take a break first, and then when we return, we'll talk to Royale, I think. Okay.
Gotta go.
Far away. It wasn't that far, in today's terms, but then we would let them loose, and then we would try to hurry home, and they'd be back there in their coops before we got back. It was just
Now, when he
thing
was
to
in
do.
Hawaii, was he training him for the military?
Yes, he was in the military.
Very
Yeah,
good.
he was. Yes, Uncle Richard, and it just I just happened to turn on your station. Yes, when I heard this, so I had to call. Yeah, it's a wonderful hobby. Yes.
Well, it's a first for me. We've never, it's funny because when Tim came in this morning, he says, "Oh, I've never done this before." I said, "It's all right. I've never talked about pigeon racing." So, and it's apparently it's much bigger than I ever thought. I mean, just looking at the number of clubs and everything else around, amazing.
Yeah, I might even look into that because I have grandsons who, I have pictures of their great uncle. In Hawaii with the pigeons, and that would be really neat to let them experience what that was all about.
What's your phone number again?
989-326-2562. So give me a call if you're interested in getting started up.
Okay, thank you so very much.
All righty, bye now.
Mm-hmm. Bye bye.
So the obvious question for anybody starting in any hobby: is it expensive?
I'm going to go with moderately expensive. If you talk about fishing, you got to have a boat and supplies.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Well, that's expensive. Yeah.
Okay. Hunting, same thing. You got to have guns and clothes and all the other things to do it. I would say it's comparable to all those. The electronics is the kicker. Today, if you have to buy new and you can't find used, it's about $1,500 for the electronics.
Now that's the timer that
timer and the
records
antenna,
the bird, reads
right.
the band.
Yep. And those have to match the club. There's different versions of those out there. And then you have the training that we kind of talked about. So you can burn up some gas and time hauling and training